It's stream night, I guess. um, so what's going on? Just figured I do a stream tonight. Hopefully this is a good time to stream because, you know, there have been cases where, you know, I've streamed a little too early, you know, when everyone's still busy or whatever, because I do get that everyone's time zone is different, so I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. What's up, Zach? I'm currently sick. Hey, what's up, Joshua Wilson? I'm sorry to hear that. Get better soon. Hello there. Hello, Andrew Bebe. You guys are the first ones here. You appreciate that? For sure, man. Yeah, I don't know. I just been kind of in the mood to stream tonight, I guess. You haven't done CD pickups hardly in a while. Yeah, I actually have a CD pickup video coming very soon. I'll probably release it after the stream. I do have a Blu-ray pickup video coming as well. That'll probably come first, and then the CD pickup. I've been on YouTube since September 2006. That is a long time. So you were on YouTube since the very beginning. Yo, hey, what's up, Pink Hide? Recently picked up Birds of Prey on DVD for $5 at Walmart. Yeah, that's what you said. I think I have that too, actually. I had created a channel 2006, but didn't upload anything on here for years until years after that. Wow. Yeah. Do you like, hey, what's up, John Tyler Browning? Do you like any music outside of hard rock? I like alternative punk and old school rap. Side of hard rock, I mean, heavy metal for sure. I mean, heavy metal's got to be my, I don't know, sometimes that bounces back and forth between rock and metal. Oh, you meant to put metal on there? Okay, I got you. You've been on YouTube since May 9th, 2014. Cool. Yeah, 2014 was my first year on YouTube as well. And it's actually been a year ago today. Now I wish I uploaded videos back in 2006 when I created this. Would have been interesting. So I'm back to myself. Yeah. I will say that I do wish I would have started YouTube sooner, like, but at the same time I understand why I didn't. But I mean, I just think now, like, what difference would it make, you know? Do you ever sometimes look at your oldest videos and think it is cringe? Oh, absolutely, yeah. I used to look back at them and I think, how did I think this was acceptable, you know? I mean, I get that I'm still not, you know, the best YouTuber out there, you know, but um, it is what it is. But yeah, I'd rather not think about a lot of my older videos. Your channel was 8 years ago? Yeah, same here. Yeah, I mean, it's nice that I started when I did, but again, I do wish I would have started sooner. What bands fell off for you? I actually answered that in my Q&A video, but you would say Linkin Park, Coldplay. I still love their early stuff. Listen to a lot of it, but their new stuff don't do it for me. Yeah, I think anyone could pretty much agree that Coldplay's older stuff is better, you know. Unless you're someone that actually likes modern pop. But it is what it is. But yeah, bands that have fell off for me. Soen is actually one band. That's one of the bands that I named in when I did my Q&A video. I've honestly been kind of grown to be kind of bored with their music. But yeah, I don't know. Gentle Giant as well. I kind of grown to have a little bit of boredom with their music as well. Those are bands recently that have fell off for me, but you know, if you want to talk about fell off like in general, I mean, Slipknot is definitely a band that fell off for me. You could say the same thing for Avenged Sevenfold, although recently I did think about giving them another chance, but I don't know. Who else? Well, Queensryche, that was actually one of the bands that I named in that Q&A video as well. Mainly because of Todd Latour. Todd Latour is an idiot, so there is that. It is one of those cases where I do have a hard time separating the art from the artist. You know, I know MJ Nation said something about like still being bitter or whatever, but he doesn't know that Todd Latour is still posting crap on social media that like, I mean, he's obviously unaware. It's like, dude, I'm not going to jump back on the Queensryche bandwagon. I'm sorry. There's nothing that, you know, you can say or do that'll get me back on. I'm sorry. You know, Queensryche, they might be a talented band, you know, but, you know, I wouldn't say that, oh, they're so talented, I have to listen to them even though their singer's a D-bag, you know. It's not like that. They're not that good where, like I can't resist listening to their music. What is up, Zach D Nation? Hello, Dead Yellow. You like modern pop? Okay. One of your oldest videos that I like, one where your friend was in love with the tree. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Kept showing up in places you wouldn't expect them to be. Oh, Freaked Out. That was the name of the video. I made that into like a little series, too. Coldplay is so overplayed on the radio. Wouldn't want to listen to them in my spare time. Yeah, fair enough. The one band that fell off for me is Skillet and Coldplay. Yeah, Skillet did kind of fall off for me too, if I'm being honest. I feel like Skillet's one of those bands that you're only meant to be into when you're young, and then after that, that's pretty much it. You never listen to Coldplay anymore. Yeah, it's been a while since I've listened to them. Although they were playing one of their songs when I was at work yesterday, and it was actually one of my favorite songs from them, so can't complain. What about Soen? Weren't you briefly into them at one point? Yeah, I was. I mean, I still like them, kind of, but my last few listens with that band have been kind of a snooze fest, to be honest. Kind of bored, if I'm being honest. Freaked Out. I literally rewatched that series last month. Crazy coincidence. You should do a sequel. Maybe. Maybe I could do like an SJW version of Freaked Out. I do have that yellow hair wig or whatever that is. Some of you might have seen it, but I might use that. I think that'd be kind of funny. Best and worst album of 2022. Mine would be The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead by Megadeth. For the best. Okay. Yeah, Megadeth's newest album is probably my second favorite album of the year. My first favorite would be Exile, still, from Demon Hunter. I do like Voivod's latest album, too. Korn's latest album is pretty good as well. But yeah, there are some good stuff. Overall, I would say that this year has been kind of underwhelming, like, as far as entertainment goes in general. Even in movies as well. Like, I thought 2021 was a better year for movies as well. Like, I just felt like there was a lot more, A lot more than this year. I mean, there's been some great movies to come out this year, for sure, but I don't know, it hasn't been as strong. I mean, what did you have last year? You had, obviously, Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, that was one of the biggest films of last year. No Time to Die. Mortal Kombat, which I did recently get into, and I kind of like that movie, actually. What else? What else came out in 2021? There were a lot of overhated films of last year as well. Freaked Out. Those are funny and random videos. Yeah. What that song called by Coldplay? It was Speed of Sound. Your worst song of 2022 is White Horse by Skillet. Never listened to it. Even for gaming, it was underwhelming. Mostly God of War and Elden Ring. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, JVG. Gaming for me nowadays is so hit or miss. Like, I kind of lost interest in it, to be honest. I mean, I did pick up the most recent Call of Duty game. Call of Duty is like really the only game I'll ever make an exception for, I'm just not really a gamer like I used to be. I don't know what happened. I think the problem with gaming for me is I think just all the BS that comes with it nowadays, like, oh, you have to pay for this in order to unlock this, or I just miss how things were before, when you unlock things by skill instead of taking a paycheck out for something. I don't know. I just hate how gaming is today. I really do. I'd rather go back to the days of like 2011 when like Modern Warfare 3 was out. Now, those were the days. Zach, we should do a Freaked Out film together. SJW, put lipstick on. Oh, good God. That's funny. My favorite album was probably Friendship, Love, and War. Never heard of it. Hey, what's up, Prison Metaler? Welcome. X and Y by Coldplay is honestly one of my favorite albums of all time. Yeah, X and Y is probably my second favorite Coldplay album. And if you're wondering what my first is, it'd have to be Viva La Vida. I know Black Widow came out in 2021. Yeah, I still haven't seen that one yet either. I do need to check that one out. Same for me, to be honest. Haven't really enjoyed many games lately. Same goes for movies. Fair enough. Hopefully 2023 will be a better year for both those things, but we'll see. Mine is A Rush of Blood to the Head. Yeah, A Rush of Blood to the Head is probably my third or fourth favorite. That album and Parachutes kind of do go back and forth as my third favorite. And I'll be honest with you guys, I think Ghost Stories is kind of an underrated album. I don't think that album is as bad as many people say. Your favorite Coldplay album is Parachutes and X and Y. Yeah, Parachutes is solid, I think. Coldplay lost my interest after their album Viva La Vida. Yeah, that is kind of where they did go downhill. Milo Zoloto, I think it was called. I mean, I remember even when I first got into Coldplay, I thought that was their weakest, and that was their newest album at the time. You know, so I just wasn't thrilled about it. Zach, you should play Disco Elysium. Okay. I think I've heard of it, but I don't really know much about it. Black Widow is very mediocre, just your average Marvel movie. Yeah, I've heard that film was average. I mean, I have it, but I never got to see it yet. I might pop it in sometime. The best album I heard in 2022 is probably his debut. It's Matt Heafy's side project. Cool. Yeah, I'll probably have to check that out. Yeah, you don't play games that much? Yeah, neither do I, Pink-Eyed. Been sick with the flu, but hopefully this makes me feel a bit better. Yeah, hopefully it does, Scamp. My favorite Coldplay album is A Head Full of Dreams. JK. Yeah, you better be JK. I keep finding cool albums from the past. I never really have a best album of the year. Yeah, I hear ya. Yeah, even my list from 2020 has changed, you know? Like, my favorite album of 2020 was actually, Fate's Warning's last album, but not so much these days. That album has not really held up that well for me. I think if I were to redo my list for 2020 now, I'd probably say that Ohms by Deftones is at the top for me. Viva La Vida was their last good one, and after that, yeah, I don't listen to those. Yeah, me either. It's actually either A Rush of Blood or Viva La Vida. Interesting. More like a... oh my gosh. Prison Metaler. A Head Full of Dreams, Everyday Life. I'm not a fan of any of those albums, actually. I quit Coldplay after Viva La Vida, then their entire discography would be rounded. Oh, if they quit after Viva La Vida, okay. I totally agree with that. Yeah, Coldplay would be a very good band if they just would have... Heck, even if they would have ended their career with Ghost Stories, that wouldn't be bad. I mean, I think even if they ended their career with Ghost Stories, I would still say that, you know what? Coldplay was a very solid band. They had many great songs, a lot of great music, but A Head Full of Dreams, that's when they really started to go downhill again. Your top 10 grunge alternative bands. Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Nirvana, Coldplay, The Cure, Radiohead. Interesting picks. Yeah, Alice in Chains and Soundgarden are actually the only grunge bands that I listen to. Another new Gorillaz song drop, and I'm sitting here crying like a baby waiting for you to listen to them. I'll check them out eventually, Dead Yellow, don't you worry. Everyday Life Was Okay and A Head Full of Dreams was a bad album. Yeah, I still think A Head Full of Dreams was their weakest. Coldplay is planning on ending in 2025. Really? Where'd you hear that? I mean, obviously, I'd be okay if that happened. I mean, if they're ending in 2025, then I guess that they have one more album left. I mean, I'm at least assuming they have one or two albums left to go if they're planning to end that soon, so... Ohms was in my top 3 Deftones albums, but now it's lower. I still like this album, but I do think there's better Deftones albums since most of their albums. Much more than... Okay, yeah. I would agree with you, Prison Metaler. It's maybe in the top 5, but not in the top 3. I mean, I definitely do prefer... I definitely prefer Around the Fur, White Pony, Diamond Eyes, probably Koyo no Kon, and then probably Ohms would be my 5th favorite. You hope they do, yeah. You got into Coldplay through their song, A Sky Full of Stars. Yeah, A Sky Full of Stars, I think, is actually one of their better pop songs. I actually don't mind that one. But I actually got into Coldplay through Viva La Vida, the title track. I mean, obviously you can't go wrong with that catchy violin that's in the song. I mean, it's obviously one of the most memorable things that you'll hear on the radio, so pretty catchy, and that's what got me into the band. Music of the Spears was terrible. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard that that album wasn't that good. I've heard it was a step down from their last album, so that's kind of hard to believe. Ohms is still in my top 2 albums from 2020, maybe even number 1. Same here, Scamp. It's probably my favorite album of that year. If Chester from Linkin Park was still around, I wonder if they would have redeemed themselves from the last terrible album they made. It could have gone back to their roots. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it wouldn't have been the first time they've gone back to their roots, because they went back to their roots a little bit on The Hunting Party. You know, after A Thousand Suns and Living Things, which were definitely different than what they've done before at the time. Ohms is definitely in my top 5 favorite Deftones albums. Of course, Nothing Can Be Diamond Eyes or White Pony. Yeah, those are some of their best. Music of the Spears was even worse. Oh, okay. I'm about to do a re-rank on them next. I already recorded my Dream Theater re-rank. Cool. Yeah, I'll probably check out your re-ranking for Dream Theater. I would say that my ranking has changed for Dream Theater. I actually used to say that A View from the Top of the World was their best since Octavarium, but I probably wouldn't say that now. I even think Dramatic Turn of Events and the self-titled are better. Coldplay music. oh my gosh, Andrew. Well, I mean, fair enough, I guess. Hot take: if Hardwired to Self-Destruct came out after Justice for All, people would have not said Metallica sold out. Maybe. Maybe. Like, maybe if Metallica took a long break after And Justice for All, like, they didn't release music for many years until Hardwired came out, and then I think a lot of people would say that they're just back. You know, they're back on doing their thing. I don't think anyone would really think much of it. I think people would treat it like how people treat Fear Inoculum by Tool. And by the way, you notice how no one talks about that album anymore? Weird, right? You know, it was supposed to be like the next big thing, and, you know. And I think a lot of us can agree that it is probably their worst album, too. I mean, it's a good album. I still do like it. There is some good stuff on the album, but when it comes to all 5 of their albums, I would say that that's the weakest one. Ohms is a great album by Deftones, but Gore is still my favorite Deftones album. Really? That is definitely an unpopular opinion. Because I know that a lot of people would have Gore as their least favorite. I don't know if I would say it's my absolute least favorite, but one of my least favorites, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I do like that album, though. It's pretty good. Tool has longer songs. Yeah, they do. And I will say, that is kind of one of my complaints with their last album. Like, all the songs on their last album were like over 10 minutes long. And I think the album would have benefited better if there was maybe like a couple songs on the album that were around like the, I don't know, the 3 to 4 minute mark. Or even 5 minutes, you know? Something that's a little bit shorter, you know? Maybe something that's, dare I say, kind of accessible, you know? But maybe they'll do that with their next release. Who knows? All of Deftones' albums are above 8 out of 10 in my opinion, even Gore and Saturday Night Wrist. I probably would agree with you, Scamp. Honestly, I would probably say that the self-titled is their worst album. I mean, it's a good album, but I have to admit that, I mean, that's probably the only album of theirs that I would consider rating something below an 8 out of 10. Everything else, yeah, above an 8 and above, basically. You don't even like Deftones that much? Oh man. Yeah, I love Deftones. How's it going? Hey, what's up, Max? Fear Inoculum still holds up for you? Interesting. Yeah, I need to revisit that album again. Gore was my least favorite, but it's not anymore. I'm not telling you my least favorite until I release the re-rank. I got you. Fear Inoculum has disappeared from the face of the earth. Reevaluating it now. Dare I say it's a weak Tool album? I wouldn't say it's a weak Tool album, but I would say that it is their weakest. I don't know. I would just like them to do something different, you know? I mean, I do like the fact that they still sound like Tool. You know? So there is that, you know. I think Fear Inoculum was just their way of saying, hey, you know, we're back, we still sound like Tool, and then maybe for their next release they can do something a little bit different, like experiment a little more. Which Tool is already an experimental band, so who knows what they could experiment with. Maybe like more catchy songs, you know, maybe something along those lines, you know. Because, let's be real, Tool is not really the most accessible band. I mean, that is debatable depending on who you ask, because I know that there's a lot of people that say that Tool was one of their first bands that they have ever gotten into. But yeah, their music is not super easy to get into. There was one song from Tool's last album, and it was a 2-minute song. I think that was an interlude, though. Or some kind of instrumental. I dig the self-titled album. Probably their darkest and heaviest, but so good. Yeah, I mean, it's a good album, but it's never been one of my favorites. Dare I say Tool's next release will be in, like, 2030? It wouldn't surprise me. I've been listening to White Zombie, Slayer, and Limp Bizkit. Not a fan of any of those bands. Mostly been listening to Bathory and Death. Nice. Death is a great band. Thoughts on Meshuggah? Meshuggah I think is okay. I actually used to kind of like them a few years back, but I don't know. They've kind of dropped off for me. I kind of just lost interest in them. My main problem with Tool's newest album is the songs are way too long for no reason. It's very open space. Yeah, fair enough. Meshuggah is one of your favorite bands. Interesting. Yeah, maybe Meshuggah is another band I need to give another a proper chance to, because, you know, there was a time where I liked their music, but, you know, it'd be nice to revisit them, actually. But we'll see what happens. I do remember my favorite album from them being Erase something. Destroy, Erase, Improve, I think it's called. So yeah. They're probably my favorite album from them, and I know that that's one of their classics. You're not a fan of Limp Bizkit either, Pink-Eyed? Yeah. Thoughts on 90s metalcore bands like Hatebreed and Converge? I never really looked into those bands. The only metalcore that I'm really familiar with is 2000s metalcore, and some 2010s metalcore, unfortunately. I personally like Rob Zombie's solo stuff more than White Zombie, but I do like both bands. Interesting. Zach, what's your favorite album from Breaking Benjamin? Phobia. Dear Agony is probably a close second, though. Meshuggah definitely grew on me. My favorite of theirs is Chaos Sphere. Don't know if I'm familiar with that one. I do know that that's one of their classics, but I don't know if I know anything from that one. I do know that Meshuggah is a really heavy band, though. Chaos Sphere and Nothing are 10 out of 10 albums. Cool. Don't Break My Heart. Oh, Brian. I don't know if that's really Brian, though. Thoughts on Michael Jackson? I respect Michael Jackson, but I never really got into him. How many more albums do you think we'll get from Breaking Benjamin? I don't know, maybe 2 or 3. This band takes way too long to release albums, and it's honestly pathetic how long this band has been around and they only have 6 albums. Now, I know that there's people that want to make that argument for Tool, but they're Tool. They can get away with it, you know? So, yeah. I mean, hopefully we get something new from Breaking Benjamin soon. Beat It was featuring Eddie Van Halen. Yeah, I think I've heard that somewhere. That is pretty interesting. But yeah, Breaking Benjamin honestly kind of does feel like they're just irrelevant now. Like there's nothing going on with Breaking Benjamin nowadays. Like no new album, there's not a single, nothing. And it's been a few years since their last album, so why people still hype up this band, I have no idea. I mean, I know that some people want to say the same thing about my fandom for Rush. Well, you're into these old dad rock bands like Rush, you know, but Rush has been around for years, so they've had plenty of time to release, you know, an entire discography. I mean, what's a discography with 6 albums? I mean, that would be like if Iron Maiden stopped releasing music at somewhere in time, you know? Breaking Benjamin's, yeah. Just imagine if it takes 2 more years for Breaking Benjamin to release a new album. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. I mean, Breaking Benjamin is so mainstream that, like, they wouldn't have to release a new album for another few years because, you know, most of their fan base will consume the same 6 albums over and over and won't get sick of it. You know, I don't know how they do it, but they do it somehow. The thing is, Rush rapidly released albums back in the day. Breaking Benjamin takes so long to release new music. Yeah, exactly. And Rush had so many classic albums, same with Iron Maiden. Yeah, both bands have actually, back in their day, they've released a new album like back to back from each other, you know, like 1 year after the other. I hope it doesn't take another 10 years for Puddle of Mud to follow up. Oh, wow. What will we ever do without new Puddle of Mud music? I'm just joking. But yeah. I actually heard that that Dream Theater won't release another album till 2025. which I'm not gonna lie is kind of sad. I mean, I just think like a few more years without new Dream Theater music, I'm just like, oh. And can we talk about that too? How Dream Theater is releasing like so many archive CDs, which I think are just pointless, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying that to be hypocritical because I do know I have some of them in my collection, but they don't need to release that many. They really don't. You know, when I first heard that they were releasing all this whole archive series, I thought it was just going to be a few, you know. But no, they're releasing like 100 of them, and I don't get it. Happy 8-year anniversary. Thank you, Kyle Keith. Welcome to the stream. I like a few songs from Puddle of Mud, but that Nirvana cover was awful. Metal progressive forever, yeah. Yeah, I love Dream Theater though. I mean, if the next album, like if the reason that they're waiting this long to release the next album is maybe because they want to improve, because I think the fan reception for A View from the Top of the World was mixed. I will say that I do like the album, but I don't love it though. Like I said, there was a time where I thought it was their best since Octavarium, but I wouldn't say that anymore. I'm not sure where I would place it nowadays in the ranking. I mean, it definitely wouldn't be their worst. I mean, it might be somewhere above The Astonishing, maybe. But I don't know, the album hasn't really held up that well. It is just kind of standard Dream Theater, to be honest. Which isn't a bad thing, but, you know. I want Dream Theater to make some ballads again, you know. That's one of the things that I would like. Zach's favorite band, Stained, is coming back in 2023 with a new album. Oh boy. What do you think about Vector? I think Vector is a pretty cool band. I think they have a cool sound to them. Although I heard some stuff about their singer, you know, I guess the guy's an abuser or something, and I'm just like, wow. Yeah. That's pretty sad. A View from the Top of the World hasn't held up as well as it did back when it was released. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. I think Dream Theater has already made their best material. I mean, yeah, I definitely think so as well. I mean, if they wanted to end their career with their next album, I don't think anyone would really have a problem with that. Because they already do have a lot of albums. You know, they definitely have a discography to listen to for sure. So, I mean, as sad as it would be, I think it would be reasonable for their next album to be their last. I love progressive metal, but for whatever reason, I'm not the biggest Dream Theater fan. Oh man. I like certain albums like Awake Images and Words, Metropolis Part 2, and Octavarium, but other than those, not okay. Yeah, see, I love Dream Theater. I mean, for me, I personally think that they're an essential prog metal band. Images and Words is probably my favorite from them. Either that album or Awake. Awake has really grown on me a lot, so maybe it's that album. I just enjoy the music. No need to be a fan of their personal lives. Yeah, fair enough. Dream Theater has longer songs too. Yeah, yeah, but they have some songs that are like on the accessible side. Recording my sophomore album, it's going to be my heaviest album. Oh boy. My most anticipated album. That's cool though, Max. It's coming late 2023. Cool. I'm more into bands like Tool, Gojira, Between the Buried and Me. That's on an Opeth. Okay. Yeah, I used to like Between the Buried and Me as well, but that's another band that has kind of dropped off for me. I heard one song by Demon Theater. I think it's like maybe if Demon Hunter and Dream Theater ever have a tour, that's what they'll be called, Demon Theater. But I know what you meant. Dream Theater is called The Alien. Yeah, The Alien was from their last album. 2023 doesn't have a lot to look forward to other than a couple of albums. Really? Because I think 2023 is looking pretty promising so far. I mean, we got that new Obituary album in January. We got new In Flames in February, and in April we got that new Metallica album. So, and there'll probably be more than that as well. There'll probably be more albums that will be announced fairly soon that'll be arriving in 2023. Like, I can imagine Anthrax announcing a new album soon. I think Death Angel is going to release a new album in 2023 as well. So, yeah, there is stuff to look forward to for sure. And again, Breaking Benjamin actually might release a new album in 2023. Bleeding Within is a good metalcore band. Not familiar with them. Richard Benson likes Dream Theater, whoever that is. I think In Flames is redeeming themselves. I think so too. I do think that their recent singles are honestly some of their best work in a while. I think it's honestly some of their best work since Sounds of a Playground Fading, which is an album that does get a lot of crap for whatever reason, and I don't get why. I know that some people just simply don't like the album, but they like a sense of purpose, which is what I don't get, you know? I mean, in my opinion, I think Sounds of a Playground Fading blows a sense of purpose out of the water. I mean, it's got a cool atmosphere, and I just like the overall production and sound to it, and just how haunting a lot of those melodies are in that album. But I don't know. I've always liked Sounds of a Playground Fading. Not a big fan of In Flames' new singles, but I'm happy many enjoy them. Still nowhere near Just a Race and Subterranean. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't think that they'll ever go back to that era of the band, but you know, these tracks, they're good for what they are, I think. Thoughts on Cannibal Corpse? They're my second favorite death metal band. Not really a Cannibal Corpse guy. I don't mind when bands experiment and change sound, but sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah, true. Like with All That Remains. You know, there is some good stuff on Madness, but that album is definitely an example of how, you know, bands shouldn't experiment. But then they kind of pick things back up with Victim of the New Disease, which was definitely an improvement and definitely a step in the right direction. Oh, yeah, All That Remains is also coming out with a new album in 2023 as well. I almost forgot about them. I'm kind of looking forward to that, to be honest. Wish I could get some more In Flames in my collection. Yeah, you should. I do have all their albums, actually. Hot take, All That Remains should have stopped with Overcome. I mean, I couldn't argue with that. I mean, Overcome was one of their best. You know, and I will say that they haven't released anything as good since then, so I mean, I couldn't really argue with that. I mean, I kind of did like A War You Cannot Win and Victim of the New Disease. Now, if they would have stopped at A War You Cannot Win, I think that would have been very reasonable, probably even more reasonable. Going to call it a night, it's like 2 a.m. Oh, okay, JVG. Thank you for joining. Have a good one and have a good night. Play in drop E or C. Always wear tank tops. Sing like a redneck version of Hey, your songs must be about your girlfriend. Nice. The order of things is... Yeah, it is. Yeah, Killswitch Engage. That's another band that I think is due for a new album. I'm surprised that we actually didn't get one this year. But maybe next year. I mean, when did the last one come out? 2019? Yeah, maybe the next one will come out in 2023. If All That Remains would have stopped after We Were Many, that would have been a decent career. Yeah, true. Yeah, he's not wrong, though. Now, the tank top thing, I think, is something that I've noticed with metalcore. Like, I don't know, like, metalcore bands that have been around for only, like, 10 years or so. Or maybe a little bit more than that, you know, like, I'm talking, like, late 2000s bands, like, I don't know, bands of, like, that were, like, popular in 2008 or whatever. You know, phase bands, as I'd like to call them. Even though Madness is a guilty pleasure. For me to be quite honest. Yeah, it is for me too, actually. I actually don't mind the title track from that album. Second single from Sirens Off is going to be Take Control featuring Deftones. Okay, cool. Cool stuff, Michael. Hot take, black metal is actually great. It's just the fan base that ruins it. I will say that even though I'm not really into black metal, I definitely dislike the fan base even more. Because they believe that you're not metal unless you're into it. So I don't understand the logic behind that. See, what makes someone the most metal to me, whatever that even means to begin with, is, you know, number one, how much metal are you into? Number two, have you checked out the bands who started metal? Those are factors that I would say would make someone, you know, more metal. Not what's that, you know, how heavy can you go? You know, I think that's silly. Deftones is one of your favorite bands. Yeah, they're probably one of my favorites too. You're not a fan of black metal? Yeah, I'm not either. I mean, I think Immortal is okay. I kind of do like some of their stuff, but the genre as a whole is not really for me. You have to drink Monster. Sorry, you always have to. Tire song. And if you're playing solo, it must be 15 seconds or less. Yeah. Very true. Yeah, these post-grunge modern rock bands and their lack of solos that last for like 2 seconds. Weren't you into Soilwork? I really enjoy them. Yeah, that's another band that I really don't listen to a lot lately. You guys are giving me some bands that I do need to revisit, actually. Because I'd be willing to revisit Soilwork. My favorite Soilwork album is probably The Ride Majestic. I love new metal. I like metalcore, some death metal, but black metal, forget it. Yeah, same here, Max. I mean, I wouldn't say that I love new metal, but I do like it though. I mean, I never really considered it one of my favorite genres or anything, but their latest album is really good. Yeah, I knew that they did release a new album, but I never checked it out. I kind of fell off Soilwork after Vergleiten, was it called? It was the one that came after The Ride Majestic. Yeah, I might be wrapping up in a few minutes here. I'm about to reach the 1 hour mark, so I only planned on streaming for about an hour, so. And the ballads must be really, really boring. Yeah, and don't forget that it has to be a love song, too. You know? You know what band I think has some really cheesy ballads? Even though I like this band, but All That Remains. Songs like What If I Was Nothing, like it sounds like your typical, like, I don't know, boyfriend at the girlfriend's doorstep kind of song. I mean, you guys know what I mean, I'm sure you know what I mean by that. I mean, it's just it's so cheesy like that. I mean, you'll never see superior bands like Demon Hunter make a ballad like that. Just saying. Like I said, I'm shocked that Seventh Day Slumber is touring with Saliva. Yeah, I'm not familiar with either of those bands, Kyle Keith. And you have to sing like Eddie or as much as possible. Yeah. What's the band has cheesy ballads? All That Remains. I mean, I like some of their ballads, but yeah, some of their ballads can be a bit cheesy. Like I said, like What If I Was Nothing, and even the stuff from Madness, which almost sounds like country music. Hope we get a new Avenged Sevenfold in 2023. It's possible. That's another band that's kind of taken a while to release a new album, huh? Because I think their last one came out in, what, 2016? which really didn't seem like that long ago either. It's weird how time works like that, you know. Like back in 2016, 3 years ago felt like it was such a long time ago. But it's been 6 years since 2016, and it feels like it's only been like 2 years ago. I don't know if that's just what happens when you get older, like time flies faster like that. I don't know. Their first three are solid, but the rest are forgettable. Okay. Your bassist, Hera, must have a mohawk. Yeah, I think that is. It's funny you mentioned that because I think 3 Days Grace is like that actually. I hope Breaking Benjamin will make a new album in 2023. You mean you hope they release a new album in 2023? Because if they make a new album in 2023, it might not be out till later in the year or 2024. Wise choice of words. Angels is my favorite song from the stage, Avenged Sevenfold. Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't listened to Avenged Sevenfold in a long time. My favorite song from them is actually Carry On, which was actually featured in the Black Ops 2 soundtrack. Which is funny because when I played the game, I didn't realize that they were a real band. And then I looked up the band members and I'm like, oh yeah, it kind of does look like the guy, you know? Kind of funny. Oh yeah, speaking of 3 Days Grace, you want to talk about another album that has not held up well? Their last album, Explosions, I mean, probably one of the most forgettable albums of the year. Not that it was terrible or awful or anything, it was kind of just forgettable. Honestly, I do think 3 Days Grace should just call it a career. Now, that's a band that needs to quit already. Theory of a Dead Man, no thanks. The gaming community loves Avenged Sevenfold. Well, I dislike both, so there you go. Makes perfect sense. I mean, I wouldn't say that I dislike Avenged Sevenfold, but they're just kind of okay to me. Hey, what's up, Liam? Hi, Zach. How's it going, mate? Going all right. Thank you. Hail to the King. See, I think Hail to the King was like a Metallica ripoff, wasn't it? I do remember some people comparing some riffs to like Sad But True from that album. Um, and other songs from Metallica's career. Don't really have much thoughts on it. Redemption is the only good song on Explosions. See, I thought So-Called Life was okay. Same with I Am the Weapon, and Chain of Abuse is actually maybe my favorite song on the album. Mainly because of the chorus. The chorus is really what does it for me. Hail to the King was Avenged Sevenfold's attempt at the Black Album. Yeah, that's what I've been told, and from what I've heard, I can kind of agree with that. Still a good album, though. Avenged Sevenfold's Buried Alive stole riff from Metallica Ride the Lightning, Ryan, and Fade to Black. Yeah. I mean, I know that they're inspired by Metallica's music. Now, so is Trivium, because I know that some people will say that as well. Well, Trivium rips off Metallica too. Yeah, but I wouldn't. I think there's a difference between completely ripping off and being influenced. That's just my opinion, anyways. I just think that the way Trivium does it is just better. I mean, they're just a better band. I'm sorry. I think they're way better than Avenged Sevenfold. Opening track. Champion by 3 Days Grace is one of the worst songs of 2022. Yeah, I was never into that song. Sci-Fi Research. Hey, Zach. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. I probably won't be streaming for that much longer, but thanks for showing up. At least Trivium don't steal riffs like Avenged Sevenfold. True. Very true. Opening track Shepherd of Fire sounds a lot like Enter Sandman. Never really noticed that. It wouldn't surprise me, though. I just wanted to wish you a happy 8th anniversary. Live more. Strong on YouTube, my bro. Thank you so much, Sci-Fi. It means a lot. Gonna write my list. What's the worst songs of 2022? Yeah, the only end of the year list that I need to do now, I think, is my best movies of the year, because I did do my bands I got into this year video, and then I did my best albums of the year list video. I think the only one I need to do now is my best movies of the year. I know that the new Avatar film is coming out soon, and I probably would like to check that out before I record my list, so you can maybe expect this list to come sometime after Christmas, maybe. We'll see what happens. I mean, I already do know which what my top 2 movies of the year will be. Maybe even top 3, actually. But yeah, everything else, it's going to be kind of hard to rank, but we'll see. I think it's funny. It was from 70s to 80s rock with Danger Zone. Not familiar. But yeah, I think I've said before that I would like to give Avatar another chance. Maybe I'll check out the first one again before checking out the new one. Because it's actually been years since I've checked out the first one. I think the last time I saw it in full was in 2009 when it first came out, so I will have to revisit it again. Maybe I'll like it even more whenever if I watch it again. Cuz that's certainly happened to me before with some movies. Probably I'll do my best movies of 2022. I don't know yet. I gotcha. All right, you guys. Well, I think I'll just go ahead and end the stream here. So, thank you so much for joining the stream. It's been cool. So, if you have any last things you'd like to say, now would be the time. See you later. See you, Prison Meddler. Thanks for joining. All right, you guys. It's been a cool stream. See you later. Okay. Yep. So that'll be all. Thanks for joining and have a good night.